My name is Dr. Manpreet Sethi. I'm a distinguished fellow at the Center for Air Power Studies in New Delhi. In fact, I would say there are five nuclear challenges in the region. And the first one is that there is a nuclear chain dynamic at play. So while there is a tendency to look at the nuclear challenge only in the context of India and Pakistan, the situation is far more complex, I think, because China, which is bordering the region, casts a huge shadow on the region. And therefore, the nuclear dynamics, I think, has to be called or seen more in the context of Southern Asia rather than South Asia. So what we see in the region is actually a chain effect, which comes from the US to China to India to Pakistan. The second challenge is that the nuclear players in the region are not just geographically contiguous to one another, but they also have territorial disputes. So they are conjoined by geography, but they are separated by the historical anomalies of unsettled borders. India sits in the middle, and it has these territorial disputes with both its neighbors on both the sides. A third challenge, which is rather unique to this region, is the use of cross-border terrorism by one nuclear state against the other. This is something which has not been seen anywhere else. And while Pakistan has been using this strategy of using non-state actors since 1947, after it acquired nuclear weapons, it developed a more sinister sort of a dimension because it now believes that it has an immunity to use terrorism without the risk of retaliation from India in any form. But the problem is that India, once it breaches the level of tolerance, then India reacts. The fourth challenge is that the nuclear strategies which are being followed by China and Pakistan both believe in the idea of ambiguity or the idea of creating risks. So while they are creating risks in order to enhance deterrence, and the fifth and the last challenge that I think that faces the region is an apparent lack of concern on the risks that are so being created. So unlike the case of the Cuban Missile Crisis, where two nuclear powers became aware of the fragility of their existence, Southern Asia does not express any such shared understanding or concern for the nuclear risks that are created. I think it would be difficult and also unfair to expect the steps only from India to stabilize the situation. I think much more will be needed, including at the global level, to handle the unique situation in the region. Now, India has a trust deficit with both its neighbors, and this makes dialogue difficult. In the case of China, in fact, nuclear engagement also becomes a problem because China does not recognize India as a nuclear weapon state and therefore does not want to have any kind of a nuclear engagement with India. Despite these problems, I would say that the nature of India's nuclear doctrine and posture has a beneficial impact on the situation. Of the three countries, India is the only country which has put down a written doctrine in the public domain that clearly establishes the role, the kind of arsenal that it intends to build, and the employment strategy of the weapon. So, this clarity, in one sense, is a step that goes towards reducing crisis or arms race instability. Now, if you look at the global situation today, there are nine nuclear armed countries in the world, and there are about 15,000 nuclear weapons between them. And in case a nuclear exchange was to take place anywhere in the world, I think the risks are going to be for everyone. So, if the risks are common, the responsibility to find a way out of the problem also needs to be common. And therefore, the steps have to be thought through and taken by all of these countries. However, given the political stature of certain states and the nature of their deterrent relationship, I would say that some countries can prove to be more effective in bearing this responsibility than perhaps everyone out of the nine. Now, the US is obviously my choice because as a preponderant global power, I think it always has been setting the fashion on the nuclear street. But what we see today, for instance, is It is increasing the salience of nuclear weapons by talking about uh, low yield use of nuclear weapons or limited nuclear war. So it seems to be going in the opposite direction. So, since you asked for my wish is that they should change that direction and we get back to reversing the trend. And if the US was to put its weight behind steps such as facilitating dialogues on doctrines or joining up with others on crafting a political statement, something like what Reagan and Gorbachev had said about nuclear wars cannot be won and therefore should not be fought, encouraging acceptance of no first use doctrines, sharing of best practices on nuclear safety and security as a way of building habits of cooperation. I think all of these are steps that, if there is a leadership vacuum, if any leader of these countries was to step ahead, and the US would be the best place to do it, if they were to step ahead, I think we could change the situation that we have.